Hi, welcome back to Cambridge Inside Out. I'm Judy Nathans.
And I'm Robert Winters.
Yeah.
And it's still July 25th, 2017.
We still have 32 candidates for city council.
32.
Nobody dropped out in the last 3 minutes.
Right, that's right, yeah.
Shucks.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I would sort of want to do a little shout out to my friends and the staff of the Cambridge Election Commission because they tolerate me coming in. We've come pretty friendly, but they always help me, and I can't be there on Fridays because I have to teach. So I always put in a request every week. I said, could you send me any updates just for Fridays? Because I like to. I don't want them.
To put in your journal.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask them to just send me a message every time anybody walks in the door.
Yeah.
But on Fridays I can't do it. So Ginny always sends me the info,
That's
and
nice.
I'm really appreciative of that.
Well, you provide a service that they kind of can't provide, or just
that's where I look at it. Is that every piece of information they send me that I can put up in a public way is one less phone call that they'll have to field.
Right.
I mean, they still, honestly, when they verify a candidate, or they say you're provisionally certified, they make a courtesy call to the candidate and say, you've broken the 50 mark, you're going to be on the ballot. So they always let them know.
Well, I would think so.
In fact, actually, they let them know before they give me the information.
Yeah. Well, don't you think that's
exactly how it should be?
The way it should be.
Yeah, it should be.
There for.
I don't know that they always did it that way. They said, well, you'll be certified when you're certified. You can look it up and come by sometime.
Oh, that's not right.
But no, they're really, really helpful and wonderful people. Everybody there is great, and it's just that simple. Now, there are a few things happening around town, I think, that are worth mentioning. I don't know if there's maybe some here. We'll mention on the Civic Journal, but I'm going to say a few right up front. One is that the Central Square Business Association people managed to pull a coup when I think there was a flea market that was meeting down south end of Boston, lost their space, and we said, well, hey, would you like to do it in Central Square? They said sure. So they did it last month, and it was really successful. It was at the big parking lot at the corner of Prospect and Bishop Allen. And there was like thousands of people there. It was great. In music and
so it's
artists.
all contained in that corner?
Yep. Yeah, food
trucks.
truck.
So what is it? Just vendors selling things?
Yeah, arts and crafts and old record. People were selling old records. And
so it's basically a flea market.
So it is a flea market.
Oh, okay.
So they call it Central Flea. And I heard at the time that the property owner said, listen, if this works out, we'll let you do it every week if you want. Well, maybe that would have been too much.
Yeah, because the cars pay to park there, some of them, don't they?
On the weekends, it's not an issue.
Right, yeah.
So it's basically empty on the weekends. Yeah. So they got the okay, and they decided to do it every month. So it'll be the last Sunday of every month in July, August, September, October. So the next iteration is this Sunday, July 30th.
So what if somebody wanted to sell something, and what do they do there? Is there a process for that?
I would say contact Michael Monestein with the Central Square Business Association. You can Google it. It's easy enough to find out. Or let me know. I'll contact Michael. And
why do you know? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying it sounds like, someone that maybe wants to sell, I don't know if you have to be a vendor that's licensed or...
The first one, I don't think they even charged the vendors anything because they really wanted to get it going.
So were these, in your experience, were these people that normally sold all the time, or were these people wanting to
I think they worked various places. They were probably, some of them were locals.
Okay.
Local businesses actually set up
that makes sense. Sure.
Here. They had a presence at it. There were some of the people who had been vendors with the one in the South End as well. So it's done in partnership with the same group that was doing it with the South End. So anyway, that's this Sunday, July 30th, starting at 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah, we're going to try to make it this time.
I was at the first one. It was fabulous, and you should go. It's
I'm going to go at 2 o'clock. I think that's
right.
Good time.
Now, unfortunate timing, but there's also another great tradition, growing tradition. We're maybe the 4th year we're doing the Cambridge Jazz Festival, which was for the first few years in University Park, right around Central Square, but then it relocated to Danahy Park.
Yeah, that's all right.
So they set up a stage up there. So that's also this Sunday from, I think it's noon to 5. It could be noon to 6. So it overlaps with Central Flea. So yeah, you could do both or go to one, but but it's some interesting stuff definitely happening around town. So
those are entertainment related stuff.
Those are entertainment related things. Now another thing which is coming up in the month of August, and I forgot to write down the date, but it's about the third week of August. Is Steve Buckley puts together the old time baseball game.
I haven't seen any notices about that though. I'm surprised.
Well, it's actually pretty thrilling for this year.
Yeah, but that's coming up soon, so I'm surprised I haven't seen an email about it.
We'll see a little bit more.
It's usually August 8th or so.
No, it's a little bit later.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Maybe about, I don't know, 17th.
Maybe third week.
Yeah, about third week of August. Usually I think it's on a Thursday night.
Okay.
I think. I'm not sure. It could be
I
early.
think you're right. I think it's
But there's a special feature this year.
Oh, what is it?
In addition to all the players wear these vintage baseball uniforms, but they have a special guest who's going to be pitching in the game.
And we don't know who that is?
Oh, yes, we do. I'm about to say. Pedro Martinez.
No! Oh.
We scored Pedro.
Oh, that's going to cause lots of people to get out there.
There are a lot of people come to this anyway, and it's a really, really great tradition.
Glad you told me that.
But I think there are going to be a lot more people now.
So as soon as we know the date, we'll...
Oil Can Boyd pitched one year.
Yeah, I remember.
Which was really great. But it's going to be Pedro, and this. You
mean throwing out the first pitch or actually pitching?
Pitching.
Oh my goodness.
Pitching in the game, yeah.
How'd they get him? Wow.
I think it's a particular charity. I forget the charity, but Buck has been really good at drawing people in, and Pedro's a real game player, and he says, I want to help out, and this will draw people. There'll be a lot of contributions. There's some fundraising involved. It's free admission. Be clear about that. But
can you pay ahead of time, or can you donate online somewhere?
I'm not sure, but the thing is, they have a lot of vendors. They do raffles. They do a lot of featured things.
I'm gonna try to go this year. I'm gonna definitely.
So it's a great thing. And I have to say it. I mean, don't be over the top about it. But if you're a political candidate and you want to go to an event that has a lot of good Cambridge locals, boy, this is a good place to be. Work in the crowd.
Except people may be saying, "Don't talk politics to me when I'm trying to watch a baseball game."
But if you wear your button and you walk in the crowd, people will come up to you, and you'll see people who will introduce you to friends.
Right.
It's actually it's a pretty good
as soon as you know the date, please tell me, because I want to be in town.
Okay. Alrighty, I'll do that.
I think it's probably the last 2 weeks of August. Sometime. Not the 15th.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, that's coming up, and I thought that was particularly worth mentioning.
Yes.
There are a lot of other things that are happening kind of in the public meeting realm of things.
I'm looking at all of them right now. You want to mention some of them?
Yeah, maybe let's sort of pop over to just a few of these ones in here. Again, I don't know how readable this is here, but the ones that are coming up here, so tonight is actually a planning board meeting. So the planning board is actually discussing the Volpe petition, the City Council Volpe petition. That was the same thing
that if you've gone to a presentation, but they're discussing it.
That was just sort of planned. So this is actually the zoning aspect of it all.
Oh, okay.
That the City Council is taking up. So this is their zoning petition here.
Whoops.
So this was filed by the MIT, the group that handles that. So that's actually tonight at 6:30, right?
6:30
after this program.
Second floor meeting room, City Hall Annex. Okay.
Right. I noticed that the Recycling Advisory Committee meeting seems to be in the evening.
Yeah, but that's only a 45-minute meeting, and it was really it wasn't anything people.
Right.
And then they're having a social after.
Okay.
So.
Alrighty. All right, so that was today. That's today,
going on right now.
Right now, okay.
As we speak.
For those who are have an interest in the ongoing saga of the Foundry Building, the City Council's Neighborhood Long-Term Planning, Public Facilities, Arts, Celebration, and everything else under the Sun Committee.
Is that tomorrow?
We'll be meeting tomorrow at 5:30.
That's right.
That's Wednesday, the 26th, to talk some more about that. I don't know.
Oh, it's at CRLS, probably because of the air conditioning.
In the summer months, they're doing some work in the Sullivan Chamber at City Hall. So.
Is that why?
So I think so. Do that. They'll certify some more ballots for the election on Wednesday. And there, I won't go through all of them here, but there's various Envision Cambridge meetings coming up, including one in early August. I don't think I have it listed here, which actually is going to be a walking meeting. We're actually going to meet, I think it's like August 3rd, where we'll meet at Inman Square Hardware. It's public, if anybody wants to come along.
Yeah, you don't
And we'll be walking Cambridge Street and talking Envision Cambridge in context. So that'd be kind of a good thing. One of the things that I originally planned to mention last week, which I thought was sort of an interesting moment in the these days part of the city.
Yeah.
So I've gone to this meeting, this Harvard Square Advisory Committee, where they were talking about this place called And Pizza.
Milk and pizza now.
And now it became Milk and Pizza, because there's a group called Milk Bar that was going to team up with them to occupy the space that where Nini's Corner, which eventually was called Crimson Corner,
which
is like a newsstand. And next door, which I think was called Tory Row.
Yes.
Right? So it's actually kind of a narrow space, just the way the building is wedged right in there, but it's right there on a very prominent corner. So, one can fairly argue it's a pretty important space for Harvard Square. Just like you can make the case for the Abbott building, where the monkey is.
Yeah.
What's the name?
Curious George.
Curious George, the monkey building. Yeah. But anyway, so it became kind of controversial, and there was some. The Board of Zoning Appeals had denied a fast food permit, so they would not be able to open.
Wait a minute, they actually denied it? Was that just
that had happened a month
before.
ago. And now there is a procedure, if you disagree with that,
Right.
you can go to the planning board and you can ask
and
this
that's
to be
what's
essentially
happening.
reconsidered. So they went back to the Harvard Square Advisory Committee, who'd been actually approving in the first place,
Right.
but they were only advisory.
Right.
And so they said thumbs up. So I spoke at that,
Yeah.
which was kind of an interesting meeting.
Yeah, you mentioned this.
When I said,
right.
a place like that, we'd welcome
Yeah.
in Central Square.
Yeah.
To which some snobby brat got up shortly afterwards and said, well, this is not Central Square.
Yeah.
I said, oh, really?
Yeah.
You uppity little Harvard Square brat.
They
Thank
allow
you very much.
CVS in there, don't they?
I'm sure they would have blocked that if they could have, right? But
Yeah, that's
the
true.
truth is there are a lot of Harvard students, there's a lot of visitors, there's a lot of tourists, whatever, Actually, my friend Mark, who writes for HiddenBoston.com, he actually said some really great things about Milk Bar, and so anyway, so the long and short of it is that the planning board unanimously voted to give them another crack at it, and they had to pretty much vote almost unanimously, if
So
not
when did that
unanimously.
happen?
Maybe a week or so ago,
Oh,
and then so now it will rescheduling. I'm not sure what the date is to get another hearing in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals, who are the ones who have to decide on whether to grant these special
What
fast
is the
food
difference between the planning board and their capacity and the Board of Zoning Appeals? Is it only for appeals?
Yeah. Okay. So the city council passes zoning.
Right.
Period.
Okay.
So they have absolute authority on that. But one of the things that the city council does, and I hope I'm not going to oversimplify this, but
You have to.
a little bit. But one of the things that they do in the zoning is they establish what they call special permit processes. So if you want to build a building, you can just do it as of right, as long as it conforms to the zoning.
Okay.
But sometimes there's a provision that says you can build a little denser or a little higher or whatever, as long as you agree to do it via the special permit process, which then involves the planning board, and you have to sort of go before them, and they help.
And all that.
Right, and this way the city has an opportunity through the planning board and the CDD staff, Community Development Department, to help shape the plan.
the project. Okay.
Yeah, and often I think for many people it's viewed as more desirable that if you allow a little extra density, and actually honestly they actually downzoned a little bit to kind of encourage people to go that route.
Yeah.
So you could build a kind of a okay thing as of right, or you could go for a special permit, in which case the planning board is involved in granting that.
I see.
Right? And there are design criteria, various other criteria.
Okay.
Anything over a certain size has to go for the planning board for that special permit as well.
Okay. So when does it get triggered to
so
the
what is the Board of Zoning Appeals? Well,
right.
that's different in that if you want to do something like add an addition to your home, or if you want to build a project and it doesn't conform to zoning,
okay.
well, you could go to the city council and file a zoning petition to change the zoning.
Or what? You can't get a special permit or variance?
Right, or you can go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and seek a variance.
Oh, so that you get a variance from the Board of Zoning
So under
Appeals.
state law, they are empowered to grant variances. I think there's a general acknowledgement of the fact that zoning is imperfect. It will always be imperfect. There are always sort of crazy lots that are odd shaped or whatever, where the zoning tries real hard to be good, but it's imperfect.
So is that a voluntary position? Board,
all
is that an appointed,
these
or
are,
is it
they're all appointed by the city manager,
unpaid?
unpaid. Yeah.
To me, that should be a paid position.
Well, a lot of towns actually have town government that are volunteer positions
That's true
too.
too. So the planning board and the board of zoning, they're all unpaid
Unpaid
appointments.
positions.
You
Exactly.
apply to be on it?
Right, now
Yeah.
there's different staff for each.
Right.
The planning board has the
Okay.
community development department
Exactly.
staff.
Okay,
So I would have to say they are better staffed
right,
for handling special permit applications.
Right.
As Hugh Russell said at the recent planning
Yeah.
board meeting about that, one of the problems when you bring a case in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals, that
Yeah.
you're seeking a variance, they have some staff who are basically the inspectional services department.
so that's who they're under?
That's sort of they're affiliated with.
Huh,
But the thing about that is that
They're
the
never available,
inspectional
right,
services,
yeah.
they don't have nearly the same kind of
No.
professional staffing for, that the planning board does. Maybe that's something that should change.
yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to look at the workload of the Board of
Right.
Zoning Appeals, I don't know.
Yeah, but for the most part, if people are coming in for variances, it's
Pretty pro forma, there's not
yeah,
a big
it's sort of
argument.
like, well, are you really suffering a hardship? Do you really need to do this?
But don't you have to let your neighbors know, butters,
Yeah.
I've seen that
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thing.
you gotta do that,
So
yeah.
unless they complain, it's usually just pushed through, right?
Not always,
No?
because it
Yeah.
really depends. I mean, and it has varied very much over the years. There've been some years when the membership of the
Yeah.
Board of Zoning Appeals was pretty easygoing.
Yeah,
They saw their role as sort
Yeah.
of adjudicating between neighbors.
okay,
And then there are other times, maybe we're kind of more in that time now, where
This is
people
what
are a
I'm
little more
talking about.
ideological.
right, well, this is the
Yeah.
complaint, isn't it? I mean, and how long are their
Well,
terms?
One problem, right, as one member of the
Yeah.
Board of Zoning Appeals, I think for the fast food permit, if there's a body of 5 will sit on each case,
Yeah,
and it's not always the same 5, because I think there are
how
something
many
like
are there?
9 or 10 members on the board total, but
And
so
you need-
5 will sit on any case.
And
And
that,
so-
it's like the Supreme Court, 5 is what you need to.
So you need, to get a fast food permit, you need, I think, 4 out of 5. You can have one say no, but a majority, 3 out of 5 is not enough. You gotta have
But
4.
wait a minute, are there 9 people
Right, but
on the
only
board, or,
But only, there are alternates and what have you, but only
Oh,
5
okay.
sit in any case.
okay, alright,
So there's a
Confusing.
situation where if you have one member who just philosophically feels that no fast
Right.
food permits
Will
should
ever
ever be issued, which is the situation we have right
But
now.
that person should not be on a board
You
of
know,
zoning.
I think for the most part, that person is actually pretty good. But in this
Okay.
particular
Well,
matter,
you
I
have an
think
open mind.
it really would, it behooves the membership of every
Yeah.
board to be open-minded and not walk into each
Yeah.
any case with a
Yeah.
preconceived notion about what's
So
possible.
what are their terms? I mean,
I think
3-year
there
terms
might be
or-
a 5-year term,
5,
and this
yeah.
particular person, I think, was only reappointed a few months ago. So,
Wow, so then we got a
so
little
it's not
more
gonna
on it,
change,
yeah.
but in fact, there's another person who I think
Mhm.
actually was attending some of the other meetings, because really wanted to find out who was the other one who had voted no, who might actually now maybe reconsider. So,
Okay,
anyway, to me, what made it interesting
Yeah.
was, it was sort of like your classic, as I mentioned when I spoke at the Harvard Square Advisory Committee, in Central Square, we're saying like, hey, you got a good service? Hey,
Yeah.
come on down,
we need a good hot dog
We don't want any
place.
vacant
Well, we've got-
storefronts, we
Yeah.
want,
Well, I
want
guess
real-
Roxy's does have hot dogs.
if you're gonna serve people, then we'd like to have you.
Yeah,
But, Harvard Square for the longest time, the Harvard Square Defense Fund, as well as various other activists, has a bit of a history of maybe on the good side wanting
Yeah.
to preserve what is wonderful
Right.
about Harvard Square.
right,
But on the bad side, it's pretty damn snobbish.
yeah,
And the notion,
Not in my backyard, yeah.
well, this isn't the type of, there was an interesting discussion at the advisory committee where one of the longtime members and former head of the Harvard Square Defense Fund says, well, isn't this new business going to generate traffic? And I'm thinking to myself, well, isn't that what businesses
Yeah.
are supposed to generate?
Don't you have traffic now?
And there's going to be,
Yeah.
automobile traffic, pedestrian traffic, whatever. You
Yeah.
want it to be a sleepy little village where nothing happens.
Yeah.
So the chair of the advisory committee said, well, not everybody agrees that traffic is a bad thing. It could be viewed as a measure of vitality and activity
Yeah.
and popularity, and everybody seems to agree, even though most people would prefer pedestrian traffic.
Yeah.
But they
You know,
want,
I've even gotten to a point though, I'd rather see a ring around Harvard Square where you can't go in with a car, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
that was proposed in years gone by.
It seems to me it's just too congested right there. There's not enough, you have to go round to get a ring, you know what I'm saying, because of Mass Ave and stuff.
Well, but remember,
Just
they
don't allow cars
reconfigured
in
all
there.
the roads. You used to be able to go straight through from
Oh.
Mass Ave right into Brattle Street, and then that was cut off
When was that cut
in
off?
the 80s, 1980s.
You mean past where the out-of-town news is?
It used to be on an island.
I think you're right. I think I
Yeah, back
remember
when
that.
Mug and Muffin was there.
So in a way,
Worst
that
House.
was a way to
Yeah.
try to alleviate that.
Yeah,
But you still
Harvard
have
Square used to
cars-
be like a
yeah.
triangle, the way the
That's
roads
true.
passed through it, and
Well,
so they rerouted everything. So now you got to go all around up by the Common, and I think I might have even said this on a previous program. I don't remember, but I really think that traffic patterns should be reconsidered every 5 years or so. Say, is this really working? Is this really
Yeah.
ideal? And
Yeah.
actually try and allow yourself the option of thinking a little out of the box. And actually in that spirit, I think it's is it this weekend? Actually later this week, I forget what day.
walk, bike, ride?
Over on Cambridge going into Somerville, over at
Oh.
Union Square.
Oh, there. Yes, I heard. I just found out about that.
Prospect
They're making,
Street, which is one way into Somerville,
They're going to make
and
it.
Webster, which is one way back from
They're
Somerville to
gonna come
Cambridge.
two ways.
Both of them will
Yeah.
be two-way streets.
That's right.
So they've already removed the barriers, and they're
It's
you can
happening
see
Friday night. It's probably a good time to avoid it because they're doing all the painting.
They
and
will
stuff.
have
But it's gonna be
police
effective.
officers for several
Right.
weeks directing people
Yeah.
to avoid confusion
Yeah.
about it, because you could very easily see a car
Yeah.
going down, on the
Yeah.
left side of the road down Prospect Street,
Yeah.
and seeing another car coming right at them,
Yeah,
right?
that's scary.
But
Okay.
it's all going to be really clearly marked. So
Yeah,
so
that's interesting.
I think it's a
Yeah.
great thing that they're kind of, especially with the Green Line extension one day coming there,
Yep.
and some new development happening there to make this so. And I think it just simplifies things. And for me,
Yeah.
simplicity in road
Yeah.
design is actually best.
I mean, I think, but on the other hand, there's just so much you can do with an existing road, and then you're gonna. Now we have the bicycle lanes. I've noticed they're popping up.
Well,
the
yeah,
separate
and I
parking,
saw.
and so
Oh my goodness! I mean, I
like
can
that.
appreciate the convenience of being
Yeah.
able to ride in on Brattle Street now, from if you're coming in on Brattle, and you can continue all the way into Harvard Square now, whereas automobiles it's only one way out from Harvard Square out on Brattle.
Oh, I have noticed.
So they
that.
put in a two-way bike facility in there, and I'm
on
sure
the same side.
on one side, yeah.
So it's two ways on one side.
Yeah, and then one way on traffic, but the thing,
Oh.
and then cars are now parked out in the middle of the road.
Right.
And,
That's happening like in three
Yeah.
different places around Cambridge.
yeah, and I saw at least one, actually somebody wrote an article, it's on the CCTV website.
Oh yeah.
Somebody put up a story with photos,
Yeah.
basically highlighting how Brattle Street has now become one big parking lot.
Wow.
And if you see it visually, it's pretty horrifying.
How did
And-
anyone allow that on Brattle Street?
Because the
That's
city
interesting.
council is saying we must have protected bike lanes and we don't want
No,
any
no, but
community
I'm sa-
process and we're gonna do it and that's that.
They're
and the
complaining
traffic
about the
department
milk
just
and
did it.
pizza, but and yet the Brattle Street people didn't
Well,
mind this.
it's different people making the
Oh, okay.
complaints. So,
Alright.
there's some people who, I mean, I've been making the point for a while,
Yeah.
which is that, I'm all for bike safety, but, you should be advocating for things that generate the maximum amount of bicycle safety.
Yeah.
But a lot of times these sort of separated bike facilities are really more about turf. So anyway, we're going to own this part of the road and screw you if you're a motor vehicle operator. So there's a
all right,
little
now,
bit of a
I'm a little
hostility
confused though.
about it.
How is it turning it into a parking lot if you could allow parking anyway there?
Because now all traffic is now one lane, right? They can only get through.
Oh, parking
So-
lot meaning we're stopped more.
Right, so if somebody
Oh.
stops to park a car, everything
Okay.
stops.
All right. So when you said parking lot, you didn't mean literally there's
Right.
more
If
cars
it-
parked. It
if it-
means that it's
right.
become harder to Oh.
Yeah, and if a truck
Okay.
wants to make a
Mhm.
delivery,
Yeah.
there's in some places there's no way to do it. So in some cases they've actually been pulling into the bike lanes, and then everybody's losing their minds over that.
Well, didn't
But
they?
there's no
didn't they
options.
figure that out that people are going to make deliveries?
Listen, I love my dear friends with the Cambridge Traffic
Yeah,
Department, but honestly, sometimes you folks are really out to lunch.
I think they
You're
expect
not
that people
really-
are going to go into parking lanes because there's no other choice.
They are acting ideologically right now
Mm.
at the traffic department. They are not considering community feedback. And they're basically just saying we have to respond to some city council orders, and we're not going to.
But it seems to me that if people really didn't want that, there would have been enough people complaining, and apparently they didn't. I mean, they knew about this thing coming on Brattle, didn't they?
Well, people are complaining now.
People who live on there?
There's actually a
Okay,
a,
this wasn't
something that's not
announced
factually
like
correct.
as an order or something that,
We
agenda?
don't. There was a day that the Cambridge Chronicle had a circulation of 20-some odd thousand, and that included whole families. So most of the
Now
people
don't
got
know about
information.
this. You're right.
But if there's a big thing happening around town, like narrowing streets down to 1-lane roads,
That's true, unless you really look for it, you're not gonna find it.
you're not going to find it. So people only find out when they wake up and when you realize everything's changed. And I think it was done like over the weekend or something too. So
Yeah, okay.
I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I think there are better ways to do it, and there are better ways to achieve bicycle safety. But as I say, I think this is really all about turf, and there are advocates who are saying we want to own a piece of this road, and we don't want to have any debate about it,
Well,
or
I'll
even
have
any
to go
feedback
check it
about
out.
it.
Can't be as bad as the BU Bridge going around there. That is the worst design I've ever seen in my life. This is without a Red Sox game. All right, let's not even talk about that.
Well,
I'm going away during
Well,
those
now
2
of course
weeks.
BU Bridge is going to be shut
No,
down because they
tell
did
me about it.
a replacement of the.
Yeah, I know that. It's starting
bridge over
Wednesday
Bridge
night
Deck.
at 9.
Tomorrow
Forget taking
night,
the
right?
green line. No, Thursday it's effective. The BU Bridge will be closed.
You're closed,
Thursday
right.
night.
So
Yeah.
welcome to my nightmare.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah.
Take a vacation.
Actually, by the way, one last thing about the Harvard Square stories was, with the And Pizza, which, and I wish them luck. I hope they get their permits. But
Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be sold the whole area.
well, actually,
Yeah,
in any
I read
case, I
that.
think that the family is sort of, after holding
Yeah.
the property for many, many years, are
Yeah.
actually putting multiple properties on the market.
That's right. I read that. That
So
was
the
a
Dow
little,
Stearns
scary.
Trust,
Yeah.
so where Nini's Corner was,
Mm-hmm.
as well as around the Bend, which is all really low-scale, one-story buildings.
Oh, flat patties and all that.
Yeah.
That whole area is owned by the same group.
That needs some redevelopment. Honestly, that shouldn't be one story. That should be several stories.
Right.
But
yeah, and that
anyway.
could be. That's true. You're right.
So anyway, we'll be back
Oh, cool.
next
Yeah.
week.
Talk more, maybe with a candidate,
Maybe with a
not.
candidate, maybe
Yeah.
not. So we'll see you next week on Cambridge Inside Out.
Good night.